Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu Kalpa Briksha Lakshabhratesu Sarabhira Vipanayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kanvantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Bharhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandrakada Sadvanamalya Vangshi Ratnangadam Pradaya Kelikala Vilasam Shamam Tribangalanitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantasu Koti Shatavasara Sampragamyo Vayoratapi Manaso Muni Pungamanam Sopyasti Yad Prapadasinya Vachincha Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Saurachayatam Jagadanda Kotim Yaschaktir Asti Jagadanda Chayayadantaha Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarasam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavatadiyo Manajastataiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimashanayana Bhusha Suktaryameva Nigama Pratitaistuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavis Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadaiva Hidayesu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Sukalagi Amena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramam Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Kotishvasesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Vinam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Maya Yasya Jagadanda Yatani Sute Traigunya Tad Vishaya Veda Vitayamana Sattvavalami Parasattvam Vishuddha Sattvam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasatmataya Manasu Ya Pranina Pratifalam Smaratam Upekya Leelayatena Bhuvanani Jayatya Jasram Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Golokanami Nijadami Tadesha Tasya Devi Maheshu Haridama Suteshu Teshu Te Prabhava Nichaya Vihitaschayena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Shristi Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Saktireka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vivarti Durga Ichchana Rupam Api Yasya Chacheshtate Sa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Kshiram yata dadadi vikara visesa yogat sanjayate nahi tata kritakasti heto yasambhutam apitata samupaiti karyat govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Deeparshireva hitasantaramabhyupetya Deepayate vritahetu samanudharma Yastadrikeva hicha vishnu daya vibhati Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yakarnamavajale bhajati sma yoga Nidram ananta jagadanda saroma kupa Adhara shaktim avalambya param swamurtim Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasyaita nishvasita kala matavalambya Jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanata Vishnur mahansa ihiyasya kala vishesho Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Vasvanyatasma sakaleshu nijeshu teja Swiyam kiyat prakatayat yadvadatra Brahmaya esha jagadanda vidana karta Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yadbhavayugam vinitaya kumbha Tvande pranama samaye saganadi raja Vignan vihantam alamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Agir mahiga ganamambu marudishascha Kalastatatma manasiddhi jagatrayani Yasmad bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yamcha Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Esa savita sakala grahanam Raja samasta suramurti rasesa teja Yasya gaya brahmati sambrita kala chakro Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Dharmo tapapa nichaya srutayastapamsi Brahmadikita patagavadayasta jiva Yadtatra matra vibhava prakata prabhava Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yastindra gopam atavendra mahosva karma Bandhana rupa falabhajana matanoti Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yam krodha kama sahaja pranayadi bhikti Vatsalya moha guru gaurava sevya bhavai Sanchintya tasya sadrisim tanamapurete Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Shriya kanta kanta parama purusha kalpataravo Druma bhumischintamani ganamayi toyam amritam Kataganam natyam gamanam api vamsi priya sakhi Chiranandam jyoti param api tad asvadyam apicha Sayatra shiradivi shravati shravyadhyascha jumahan Nime sharadakyo avdina yachapi samaya Bhaje shvita dvipam tamaham iha golokam itiyam Vidantaste santakshiti viralachara katipaye Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadi Radhir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. At the beginning of any Vedic sacrifice, the first thing we do is purify ourselves with the water of Ganga Mata. Ganga Mata comes from the lotus feet of Lord Varaha, or Krishna. Therefore, she is sanctified by the Lord himself, and she's the liquid form of love of God. So by purifying ourselves with Ganga Mata, we develop the mentality of devotion. Gange cha yamuna chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalismin Sanidim Kuru. So we invoke the different holy rivers of India into our water pot, and then we purify our hands. And then we take 3 drops and we say the mantra Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksam Savabhyantara Suchi. And we sip. And another 3 drops and sip. And another 3 drops and sip. And then you wash your hands. Okay? Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksam Savabhyantara Suchi. Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksam Savabhyantara. Regardless of what condition I might find myself in, I might be pure or impure, but if I can remember always the beautiful face of Lord Krishna with a peacock feather in his hair and wonderful eyes, I become purified within and without. Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksam Savabhyantara Suchi. Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksam Savabhyantara Suchi. Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksam Savabhyantara Suchi. Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksam Savabhyantara Suchi. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu.
The opportunity to take shelter of Krishna, specifically taking shelter through this process of formal initiation, Diksha, is a very, very special privilege, great mercy coming into one's life. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described it in this way: Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. The living entity has been wandering and wandering through so many different species of life and forms of life and repeated birth and death, covered with ignorance, with forgetfulness of the natural condition of the soul in the spiritual position. That's this dark material region. Somehow, somehow is a wonderful word. Somehow, great mercy comes into some living entities' lives, the mercy of, causeless mercy, of both Guru and Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasadi Bhai. And when that good fortune is marked by receiving the seed, or bija, of devotion. This is a nice topic. The seed of devotion, just like if you want to, it's spring already sprung, but if you're in the spring season, you want to harvest something, you plant simply a seed, and from the seed something grows. Of course, with watering and sprouting and so forth. But the seed must be there before something will grow. So, when the seed of devotion is received, in the form of awakening something that is already within us. It's a mystery. I'll do it again. seed is it's like something outside of yourself, and then you receive something outside of yourself. You receive the seed of devotion. But at the same time, it's not receiving something outside of yourself, because not only devotion is within the heart of every living being, but love of God is within the heart of every living being. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also taught that one. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajya Kavunoi, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udoi. The position of faith is recognizing by this one thing, by awakening Krishna Bhakti, all other desirable things can be accomplished. And Krishna Bhakti, or Krishna Prema, is already within. It just needs to be awakened. So, should I do it again? Receiving something outside of yourself which is already inside of yourself. You with me? Sounds like a contradiction? Sounds like a contradiction? What is it that what is that mercy that one receives? Something that's already inside of yourself becomes awakened. That's the awakening of that which is already inside of yourself, you can say, is the seed. There's a very nice explanation given by our acharyas, in which this seed is, again, the desire to serve Krishna. Because in the covered condition, we're serving our senses, and we're serving wicked purposes, lust and greed and avarice and anger and unfortunate masters. We're very busy. And not only in the human form of life, in all forms of life. Again and again and again and again and again and again. Serving illusory masters that are very wicked masters. They seem to be attractive masters, but they're wicked masters. And they keep us perpetually bound in the cycle of birth and death. Yet within the heart, because all living entities are eternally part of Krishna, constitutionally carrying love of God within their heart just in a dormant state, but when that dormant state is awakened, that's this tendency to once again serve Krishna. And that tendency to once again serve Krishna is received by mercy. And it's nurtured further, the seed is further nurtured by the process of chanting. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Hearing and chanting about the personality of Godhead. And especially potent and especially important in this age is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Just this past weekend we had a nice experience. A number of us were together having a japa retreat, chanting the holy name, and there was one person who joined us who had never experienced devotee association before, so they asked a natural question. What's with chanting Hare Krishna? What's important about it? Why? Why the holy name? Well, in all the scriptures of the world, but specifically within the Vedic scriptures of the world, this is the primary means of all the different ages of mankind where different means are most effective. In this age, the most effective means for awakening this Krishna prema, this love of God, is the sound of Krishna's holy name. Just anecdotally, another question was asked by someone. Can you describe your first meeting with Srila Prabhupada? And just very short. The first meeting was, I didn't even know who he was. I was a student at a university. I was just passing through the student union one evening and saw a big crowd of people around the Millard Fillmore Room in Norton Union Hall, the student center. And I was wondering, what's that crowd of people around the Millard Fillmore Room? So I went over and kind of wiggled my way through the crowd, and I just saw Srila Prabhupada with Allen Ginsberg chanting on the stage. Just heard him chanting Hare Krishna. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what was going on. But something happened. And here I am. Now, certainly there were subsequent things that happened. But just that sound vibration of the holy name of the Lord from the lips of a pure devotee, as Prabhupada described, best to hear the Hare Krishna mantra from such a source, because it's the most effective means of awakening this dormant love of God. That's the seed. Ramanda Ramite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev. So I just, like every other living entity, wandering and not having a clue. I didn't know so many things. Didn't know who I am. I didn't know what the goal of life is. Didn't know so many things. Like, who am I? And nothing. But the sound vibration of the holy name is very, very effective. So, when that seed is received, or the awakening of the tendency, once again, to serve Krishna, a little bit, then some inquisitiveness about spiritual life, spiritual paths, the goal, those important questions, the purpose of life and its meaning, the questions people are too busy to ask themselves. That inquisitive spirit, when one, according to the Manduka Upanishad, tad vijnanartam sagarum eva abhigachet samatpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. The one who has such inquisitive spirit about the Shreya Uttama, the ultimate benefit of the living entity, that person then requires further association, guidance, training from qualified persons. Tad vijnanartam sagaram eva abhigachet. And then one has to be trained in the necessary qualification to receive from that source. It says it so shortly. Samit pani. Pani means hand. Samit pani means carrying the firewood. Just like when Krishna and Sudama enrolled in the school of Sandipani Muni. Of course, it was Vasudeva and Devaki. They searched out who's the best teacher. Sandipani Muni was the best. So they were enrolled. Krishna and Balaram were enrolled in Sandipani Muni's school. And what is one of the first things that Sandipani Muni taught, or that any teacher must teach? Pause. It's humility, or character. Because without humility, how can one receive from the teacher? Not possible. Not possible. So how was that humility taught? One of the ways is simple, humble service. So Sudama, a Brahmin, and Krishna, prince of the Yadu dynasty, was engaged in gathering firewood for the yajna, for Sandipani Muni. Menial service. Humble menial service. That connects well with the service attitude, doesn't it? Service attitude awakens to serve Krishna. Now here, take on the quality of humility. Menial, humble service. Go gather firewood. Samatpani. Approaching this position of being Krishna's servant with great humility. And then there's another requirement. Samatpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. There's a qualification of the person who one should repose that humility with. Shrotriyam brahmanishtam. A person who has properly heard from Vedic sources and is fixed in the conclusion of that Vedic wisdom. Tasmad Guru Prapadyeta. Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. And the questions that are presented should be towards the ultimate purpose of life. Shreya Uttama. Remember very early learning these two Sanskrit words, Shreyas and Preyas. It's really nice, being a person that doesn't know any Hindi or Sanskrit and hearing Prabhupada. Those of you that know Hindi or Sanskrit, you're at a disadvantage, in one sense. Because everything that I heard from Prabhupada was completely new. It's a blank slate. I didn't have a presupposition of what the words meant. So I had to listen very carefully, not only to the pronunciation, but to the meaning. Think about it. So, Shreyas and Preyas. He taught, there's these two terms, Shreyas and Preyas. And Preyas is immediate gratification. And Shreyas is long-term. He gave the example of a child. The child wants to play. There's some children that I know that their family moved from this place to that place. And I asked the child, how do you like the new school? Oh, this is much better. What do you like better? There's more time to play at midtime. That's the standard of a good school. More time to play. So that's the preyas, short term. But then the parents will say, well, no, you have to go to school. I want to just play. No. There's something that's going to happen later in your life. You're going to grow up and you'll need to have an education. So you have to not just play all the time, you also have to do your Shreya program, the long-term benefit. And then there's Shreya Uttama, like the ultimate benefit. The living entity is not only going to get old and you'll need an occupation, but the living entity is going to leave the body. And you have to be prepared for that phase of life too. And for leaving the body, you need to direct your consciousness towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Jigyasu Shreya Uttama, the purpose of a spiritual master is for that purpose, the purpose of spiritual life. How to, not just, I've got a pain in my knee or I've got, something. So here's some little medicine and we'll take care of your medical problem. Now, there are people that have a profession like that, but the purpose of spiritual life is Shreya Uttama. Tasmat Guru Prapadyeta. And then, unto such a person, one should Prapadyeta, surrender. Shabde Pare Chinishnatam Brahmani Upashramashrayam. Three things are mentioned. Again, firm understanding and firm conviction in Brahmani, the absolute truth, and being able to withdraw or take away the doubts of those who don't have such training, and upashamashrayam, leaving aside all involvement in material affairs of life, mundane pursuits of enjoyment, as we've been speaking about, seeking happiness through fruitive activity. There's a difference between performing your occupational duty as grahastas, and there's a difference between that and pursuing happiness through fruitive activity. You read Bhagavad Gita carefully and you'll see the difference. One is, performance of duty is, the fruits go to Krishna, my life is dedicated unto the service of Krishna, and this is my occupation. And someone that doesn't have that understanding, sacrifice unto Vishnu with my life and the fruits of my life, sacrifice unto Vishnu, one who doesn't have that understanding is very, very busy. So busy they don't have time to come to the temple, or they don't have time to chant the holy name. They don't have time to read the scripture because they're busy with fruitive activity. And that's the criterion of what they'll decide what they'll do and not do, if it enhances the fruits of my fruitive activity, so I can enjoy this temporary life in the material world. And then it's over, and then I get another one. the cycle of birth and death is not continuing in that cycle of birth and death is not what the human life is for. That is, Shreya Uttama is what this human life is for. So this initiation ceremony is a culmination of long periods of time where the soul has accepted this mercy that Krishna has given, awakening the tendency, the desire to once again serve him instead of temporary goals and purposes and fruitive activities. Take to Krishna's service and nurture it very carefully by both the chanting of the holy name, further watering that seed so it will grow, and continuing to receive guidance from the scriptures, coming from qualified teachers, giving that teaching so they can continue moving on the path toward Krishna with proper guidance. So our devotees assembled here have been working on that for some time, some for a good number of years, I've been told. Arjun Dev, how many years have you been chanting Hare Krishna? How many?
As I can do, but sometimes when I am sick, that's why. But
For how long have you been chanting? How many years?
15 or 16.
15, 16 years. His health is not good, that makes it difficult sometimes, but very, very long-standing, sincere effort to take shelter of Krishna's holy name. It's a great honor to see you receive initiation. Initiation is the formal two things: taking shelter of disciplic succession and being accepted by the disciplic succession. We have our disciplic succession pictures on every altar. It's not just the present spiritual master who is performing the Diksha ceremony. It's the entire disciplic succession, unbroken line back to Krishna. All of those awesomely wonderful personalities are smiling upon you and accepting. That the formal acceptance is through, in Prabhupada's language, the current link. But the Diksha wouldn't be possible without so much shiksha, or wonderful instruction from the senior devotees here, and especially His Grace Harivilas. But I'm going to invite Harivilas to say much more than I've said already about this event.
Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pracharini Nirvisesa Sunyavari Paskati Desatarani. Today is a very happy day. A devotee is always very happy when he sees other devotees advancing spiritually. It's like a father and mother seeing their children grow up to be really fine, upstanding people, honest, self-controlled, very respectful, and hardworking. In devotional service, it's even more pleasing to see someone succeed in spiritual life. In fact, in many ways, it's overwhelming to the heart. So, today is a celebration. It's full of spiritual joy, and it's sanctified by the presence of bona fide Guru, His Holiness Romapada Swami Maharaj. It's also in the presence of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Without Prabhupada's sacrifice and dedication to his Guru and Krishna, none of this would be possible. And we all come from different backgrounds. In fact, if it wasn't for Krishna, we wouldn't be together here today. we'd be in different places. We wouldn't know each other. But by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, and especially Vaishnava who travel around the world, as Maharaj says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavan Jivan, to give their mercy, to give their association, to give their knowledge, so that other people can be benefited by it. Now the question is, today people begin to see this world differently than they saw it before. We grow up in a materialistic culture that teaches us to see this world as something we can exploit for our own pleasure. And that is a big mistake. Because by seeing it like that and participating in that type of activity, we become trapped by old age, disease, and death, and then rebirth again. Today, the initiate and all the devotees see the world differently. We were taught that the world belongs to us. We just have to work hard. We have to be clever. We have to make good investments, buy a house cheap, and just see the value go up. Of course, sometimes the value goes down. Build up your 401k. But sometimes it goes down also. And whatever we try for, in the end we're going to lose it. Why? Because the real nature of this world is suffering. There's really no happiness here. What we call happiness is only the temporary relief of suffering. It's like blowing on a boil. If you have a boil on your arm and it hurts and it itches and you go like this, for a few seconds you feel a little relief with the air blowing on it, but then it's still there. So what we call happiness is like that. It's like blowing on a boil. In the Bhagavad Gita and in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a very interesting verse that says, Ichadvesa samuttena dvandva mohena bharata. That we come to this world in a state of delusion, overwhelmed by icha and dvesa. Icha means we have desires. We see things, just like if you go to Hollywood or Broadway or some nice place, you see things. You go to Walmart or you go to whatever store you go to, you see things that are shining and bright. Or you go past a new car dealership, you see very shiny, bright new cars, and you're attracted and you develop a desire for it. And you work hard and you try to own it. And when you own it, especially a new car, you drive around, you get attached to it. You say, oh, how could I ever drive around that old car I had? This new car is so much nicer. I have all these gadgets. It looks like an airplane cockpit. See? And you become attached to it. And if someone or something hurts that car, you get really angry. The neighbor's kid scratched my car. Or this idiot in a rainbow VW ran into my car and he doesn't have insurance. And he said, hey dude, what happened? So people get angry. This is called dvesa. Just like someone gets married and on the first day they're in love. They tell each other, I love you, we'll never be separated. 10 years later, they're getting a divorce. 3 years later, sometime. There was one Sindhi marriage in Bombay, years ago. This is not to denigrate the Sindhis, I love them very much. But my best friend was Cindy, and he told me that his sister got married in Bombay. During the reception, there was a big fight. The two sides fought each other, hitting each other with chairs, and afterwards, after the fight, they rescinded the marriage. They said, this is finished. It didn't even last 3 years. It lasted maybe 2 hours. So this I love you, I hate you, this is material life. It means I love you because I can exploit you. And I hate you because you won't let me exploit you anymore. That's what it means. That's what's called Icha and Dvesa. We're born in this world deluded by this Icha and Dvesa. And if you look at life, that's what it's all about. What's the solution to this? Today is the solution. Today, we transfer our Icha from Toyota to Radha and Krishna. Today, we suddenly realize that the desire to please Radha and Krishna can never be frustrated. No one can interfere in you pleasing Radha and Krishna. Because actually, it's very simple. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta prayachati tadham bhakti aparatam asnami prayatatmana. Offer me with love and devotion, Krishna says, a leaf, water, flower, and fruit, and I'll accept it. And if Krishna accepts your offering, it becomes Mahaprasad. And Krishna is so kind that he gives it back to you as his mercy. You see. So you don't have to be rich, you don't have to be powerful, you don't have to be some big intellectual. Anybody can please Krishna. You just have to be sincere. Sincere means you're absolutely sure that there's nothing in the material world that's going to satisfy you other than offering everything you have to Krishna. And Krishna is so kind, he always offers it back so that you can use it in his service. He doesn't say, okay, this I'll keep for myself, and maybe I'll keep the mango, I'll give you the peel back. No, he doesn't. It's not like that. So therefore, no one can be frustrated in spiritual life. As Maharaj said, the first thing we learn is amanitvam, humility. If we're humble and meek, and we follow our vows of initiation, no meat eating, fish or eggs, no gambling, no intoxication, including coffee and tea, and no illicit sex, then you have nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing to worry about. Krishna will help you in every way so that you succeed. So will the Vaishnavas. Now the Vaishnavas sometimes are more merciful than Krishna, because if you break those principles, they'll do everything they can to help you to follow them again. You see. So you have nothing to worry about. The only thing we have to worry about is being attracted to the glittering aspect of the material world. Just like when you see something that's very glittering, just like the fly, it lands on the spider web. Because the spider web is a light show. If you ever see a spider web, it's very intricately, geometrically designed, and it's shining very brightly in the summer sunshine. And the flies, they have big eyes like this. And they're flying around looking for some nonsense thing to do. And what could be more nonsense than landing on the spider's web? Then when they land on it, they say, oh my God, this is like Hawaii. I have such a nice view. Everything is shiny. Ah. And after a little while, I said, oh, now I'm bored. I'm going to leave. This is the more they try and go, the more they get caught by the spider web, because the spider made the web with its own saliva, which is very sticky. And as soon as the fly with its very thin wings and thin legs lands on it, they can't get away from it. And the more they struggle, the more they get caught in the web. This is called karshati, the struggle for existence, the struggle to make everything nice. I bought a house, now I have to fill it up with washing machines and televisions and big screens and this thing and that thing, everything from Walmart and Fred Meyer and Target and everywhere, right? Neiman and Marcus, and just fill it up with junk. Right? Why is it junk? Because one day you're going to throw everything away. That's why it's junk. So now the fly is really desperate and getting caught. And finally it gets exhausted. It's a hot day. It's been struggling for 10, 15 minutes. It's exhausted. And then the most terrifying thing happens. The spider has been watching from a distance, and now it comes. Every time it takes a step, the web starts shaking like this. And the fly doesn't know what's happening, but it knows there's something dangerous. And the spider purposely goes slow until it's standing right on top of the fly. And the fly is out of its mind with terror. And then the spider slowly lowers its stinger, touches the body of the fly, and then inserts it and kills it with poison. And then the spider works very quickly to wrap it up in the web and take it and hide it somewhere to eat it. This is the real face of this world. Do not think that we're any different than that fly. As soon as we become attracted to something that will break these four principles, we're that fly. And we get caught. You cannot escape. Material nature, Durga Mata, is a fantastic devotee of Krishna. She never misses a cheater. There was once a Chandala. Chandalas in India, there are people who eat dogs. Pigs also. But this Chandala had learned to chant Hare Krishna. All day long he would chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. He had a taste for chanting. He didn't even know what it meant. He just knew that he enjoyed chanting the names of Krishna. And he learned about Ekadasi, the day when we fast from grains for Krishna. Ekadasi is a special day because as householders, we're always committing sinful activities, even unknowingly. It's very difficult. Even you have a business, or you're cleaning the house, or you're driving your car, we're killing so many living entities. But then, Krishna gave a special arrangement for us. He said, on these 2 days of the month, 11 days after the new moon, 11 days after the full moon, if you keep Ekadasi, and Ekadasi is easy. He didn't say Nirjala Ekadasi. He said Ekadasi, Lord Chaitanya said, no grains, no dal, no chawal. Just simple food. So, if you keep Ekadasi, then all your sins go away. And you build a determination to not sin, which is more important than getting rid of the reactions. Not sinning, the desire not to sin is much more important. And that's what the vow that you make today is all about, an initiation. you're making a solemn vow to your Guru, to Radha and Krishna, to Prabhupada, to all the assembled devotees, that from today on, you're going to follow the 4 regulative principles and the 4 principles of devotion. Always chanting 16 rounds minimum every day. Not taking anything else but Krishna Prasadam. Hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and discussing it every day. And most important, associating with devotees while you're performing devotional service. That's the most important thing. Whenever you feel as if, oh, I don't want to go to the temple, I don't want to associate with devotees, you're in trouble. I chant much better at home. You're in big trouble. Because that chanting at home, it's not bad, but if you avoid the association of devotees, and if you don't have specific service, time-sensitive, specific service that you must do every week, in fact, every day is best, then you're going to definitely lose the taste to chant and fall away. So this Chandala, every Ekadasi he would strictly fast, and then he would be up for Mangalarti the next day to chant for the Lord. In fact, he became a very good singer. And he played a type of veena. And he would sing very nicely. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, after that Ekadasi, he was walking to the temple 4 o'clock in the morning to be there for Mangalarti. And all of a sudden, a Brahma Rakshasa grabbed him. And he said, "Sir, you are my McDonald's special today." And the man said, "Sir, you can't eat me now." He said, "Why can't I eat you now?" "Of course I can eat you." He said, "No, I have to go perform kirtan for Krishna. I have to be there for Arti. I made a vow." He said, "Well, today you're going to miss that. In fact, you're going to miss that forever after today." He said, No, I cannot miss it. Listen, I promise you, after the Arti, after I sing for my Radha and Krishna, I will come back and you can eat me." He said, "You think I'm crazy? You think I'm some stupid Rakshasa? As soon as you finish, then you're going to run away in some other direction." He said, "No, sir, I promise you." And he spoke so sincerely, it sort of touched the heart of the Brahma Rakshasa. And he said, "Okay," he said, "I think you're a sincere person, but you better keep your word, otherwise I'll never trust anyone again." He said, "Sir, I'm going to keep my word." So he went for the Arti, he sang for Radha and Krishna very beautifully. And on his way back, some gentleman stopped and he said, "Sir," he said, "you don't want to go this way." He said, "Why not?" He said, "There's a Rakshasa. He's killing people and eating them." He said, "No, I promised him I was going to come back so he could eat me." He said, "What? Are you crazy?" He said, "No, I promised. I have to do it. He was going to eat me earlier, but he let me come to have final darshan and sing for my Radha and Krishna. So I have to go back." He said, "I've never met anyone like you before." He said, "You're definitely crazy, man." So he went back, and the Brahma Rakshasa came out and says, "Oh, I see you have kept your word. I'm very, very, very impressed." He said, "Yes, sir, I've come back so you can eat me." He said, "I've never met anyone like you. Because most people will not keep their word. Just like today, you're going to all make a vow to your Guru. Are you going to keep your word? What do you say? Because if you don't, the Brahma Rakshasa will eat you." I'm speaking to myself also, because I made the same vow to Srila Prabhupada. Right? We all have to be very careful about this vow. It's very serious. So the Brahma Rakshasa, he was so impressed by this man. He said, "Sir, like I said, I've never met anyone like you." He said, "By the way," he said, "can you do me a favor?" He said, "Yeah, what is that?" "I want you to transfer to me all your meritorious results from chanting for Radha and Krishna, so I can be a good person too." He said, "No, I won't do that." I said, "Why not?" So I thought you were a good person. He said, "No." He said, "Because I don't know if you're going to keep the vow to stop being a Brahma Rakshasa in the future. Why should I give you all these, this punya, these good acts that I've done, if it just makes you stronger to eat people?" He said, "No, no, no. Well, how will you do this?" He said, "You promise me right now, from this day on, no more kebabs." He said, "How can I do that?" He said, "I love kebab, especially human kebab." So, okay, he said, "Then just eat me. I don't care." "No, no, no," he said, "you're such a strange person," he said. "I can understand other people call you crazy, but you're not crazy. You're trying to do something to me. You're like a magician." He said, "There's no magic in this. I'm at your mercy. I'm surrendered to you. You're not surrendered to me. But," he said, if I teach you how to chant this mantra, you and I together, we're going to be surrendered to Radha and Krishna. How about that?" He said, "That sounds nice," because I was afraid you were going to say you have to do everything I say. I said, "No, no, no. Whatever I ask you to do, I do also. I'm not asking you to do anything I don't do, and I also have to do it." He said, "Okay, I promise." "Now, sir," he said, "please repeat after me. Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Hare Hare! Hare Rama! Hare Rama! Rama Rama! Hare Hare! Haribol! Gaura Premanande! We'll stop right there. I think you understand the moral of the story. And I want to thank very much Romapada Maharaj for being so kind, so merciful, to inspire everyone in this community to chant Hare Krishna and follow their vows. You can follow the vows because your guru strictly follows the vows. The Diksha Guru is there as a model, as an inspiration, as a paradigmatic personality in your life who strictly follows the vows of Krishna consciousness, the same ones that you're going to take tonight. So I think we'll continue now. Hare Krishna.
I've got a big responsibility here.
You do it naturally, Maharaj, believe me.
So, to go over to Prabhupada's Vyasa-san, and
Clear the way.
let's do the three elder persons and then separately each couple. So, Arjun Dev and Rajeshwar and Mataji, go before Prabhupada's Vyasa-san and pay your obeisances, please.
Prabhupada Jari. Why don't you help him?
Come here. obeisances. Can you? No? Okay. Okay. So, very good. Hare Krishna. Me too. Minding I can't pay obeisances like most people. This is taking of vows. What a build-up Harivilas has given about taking vows. So the rules that you'll follow, Mataji, the 4 rules, you can say them. 1. No, she doesn't need it. I can hear her. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you'll chant how many rounds each day? Minimum? 16 rounds. And she likes reading Prabhupada's books, so I don't even have to say this other one, but you'll continue reading Prabhupada's books and try your best to follow them. Your initiated name is Vatika. Vatika is the name of the wife of Vyasadeva and the mother of Shukadev Goswami.
Haribol.
Brajabhakti, where are you? You don't have a brother named Sukadev, do you? I thought of asking you that question. Vatika is also a name of the mother of Champakalata. Champakalata is one of the 8 principal gopis, and her mother is Vatika. Okay. The 4 rules that you'll follow? Okay. And how many rounds you'll chant every day? For the rest of your life, right? Very good. And you'll continue to carefully follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Your initiated name is Rajarshi Das.
Rajarshi Das ki.
Great kings were both Raja and Rishis. Very learned and great leaders and rulers of men. I was told you're 82 years old. Is that correct? 82. Oh, okay. 1 kidney gone and one more to go. Prabhupada had bad kidneys also. Do you know that? Srila Prabhupada had kidney problem also. 1 kidney's gone. Yeah, the other one's not working so well. Okay, let's, yeah. You're here. Thank Krishna for that. Okay. 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 Well, you're going to get a new name. But you'll like it. You'll like it. So, your vows. How many rounds you'll chant every day? Okay. So not try to. Make a vow that you will. Other than sickness, you will. Yeah? Other than sickness, other than sickness, you will. Okay. Got that one straight. Now, you know what the 4 rules are? What are they? 4 rules. 4 prohibitions. What are they? No meat, fish, eggs. No, that's the mantra. No, that's the mantra. Some help him. He's got a hearing aid. He's still going like this. Say it in Hindi. Let him say it in Hindi. Okay, now say it again. Say it again. What are the 4 rules that you'll follow? This is unique. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What else? You're halfway there. You have 2 more to go. Only house, one wife. Okay. Always chant Hare Krishna everywhere. What else? No intoxication, right? Okay, never. Okay, fantastic. No complaints. No complaints. Wow, really good. Okay. Okay. Very good. Would you like to know what your initiated name is? Okay. Arjuna.
Haribol!
Arjuna.
His Grace Arjuna Prabhu ki.
The Lord of Arjuna is Krishna. And you're Arjuna Das. Das. Servant. You can go sit down now. Okay. Navneet, come. Obeisances for Prabhupada first. Manoj, why don't you two also just go pay obeisances and come? Check out his hairstyle. It's the latest. I don't think too many people will imitate you, though. The vows. How many rounds you'll chant every day?
16 rounds.
Okay. And the rules that you'll follow?
No meat eating, no illicit relationship, no intoxication, and no gambling.
Very good. And you'll, for the rest of your life, very carefully follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings to your best ability, yes? Okay. Your initiated name is Nitai Daya.
Haribol!
Nitai Dayadas. His Grace Nitai Dayadas ki.
Daya means mercy. If you get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, you're very fortunate. Hare Krishna. How many rounds you'll chant every day? 16. And the rules that you'll follow? Okay. And like your good husband, you'll carefully follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings to your best ability. Very good. Your initiated name is Rama Tulsidas.
Haribol.
You can go sit down. Prabhupada made this distinction years ago, so I'm just sharing a little bit of the lore of growing up in Krishna consciousness. We're used to seeing Tulsi that's green, but then we came across a brand or a version of Tulsi that was dark. So Prabhupada called the dark Tulsi Krishna Tulsi, and the green Rama Tulsi.
Her Grace Rama Tulsi Devi Mataji ki.
Okay. Now, your vows are how many rounds you'll chant every day, and the rules that you'll follow. Okay. And you'll carefully follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings for the rest of your life, yes? Your initiated name is Mahaprabhu Das.
Haribol.
His Grace Mahaprabhu Das Prabhu ki.
Requires no explanation. Now to live up to that. Okay. Your vows. How many rounds you'll chant every day? Okay. The rules that you'll follow? Okay. And this is easy because you like Prabhupada's teachings, so you'll follow carefully Prabhupada's teachings. Your initiated name is Sundari Devi Das.
Her Grace Sundari Mataji ki.
Hare Krishna. So proceed, Harivilas.
Please repeat after me. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Vishnave Namaha. Om Madhusudanaya Namaha. Om Trivikramaya Namaha. Om Vamanaya Namaha. Om Shidaraya Namaha. Om Rishikeshaya Namaha. Om Padmanabhaya Namaha. Om Damodaraya Namaha. Om Sankarsanaya Namaha. Om Pradumnaya Namaha. Om Anirudaya Namaha. Om Purushottamaya Namaha. Om Adhoksajaya Namaha. Om Nrsinghaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Janardanaya Namaha. Om Upendraya Namaha. Om Hariye Namaha. Om Krishnaya Namaha. Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam Sadapasyanti Surayo Diviva Chaksuratatam Tat Vipasno Vipanyavo Jagavam Sasamindante Vishnuryat Paramam Padam. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Raso Amritam Brahma Bhurbuvaha Swar Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Om Katuraham Yagya Swadaham Aham Osadam Mantraham Aham Evajam Aham Agniraham Bhutam Om Swastino Govindo Swastino Chitananto Swastino Vasudevo Vishnu Dadatu Swastino Narayano Narovai Swastina Padmana Baha Purushottamo Dadatu Swastino Vishvaksena Vishveswaraha Swastino Rishikesho Harir Dadatu Swastino Vainateyo Harir Swastino Anjana Suto Hanur Bhagavato Dadatu Swasti Sumangalai Kesho Mahan Shri Krishna Satchitananda Ganaha Sarveswareswaro Dadatu Om Bhur Swaha Idam Vishnave Idam Namama. Every time I say Swaha. Okay. Om Bhuva Swaha Idam Achyutaya Idam Namama. Om Swaha Idam Narayana Idam Namama. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Idam Anantaya Idam Namama. So just wait 1 minute. Before we start this ceremony, we offer our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Pan Kevala Mando Mui Sabadana Mate Chanara Prasade Bhaye Bhavatoriya Jai E Bhavatoriya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Gurumukha Padma Vaikya Chitete Gauri Agya Aranakoriya Mane Asa Shri Guru Charane Rati Se Uttama Gati Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Asa Chaksudan dileje janme janme Prabhu se Divya Gyan Nirde Prakasito Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasa Jate Vede Gai Janara Charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adana Janara Bandhu Lokena Lokera Jivana Aha Prabhu Kora Doya Teha More Pada Choya Ebeas Kusuki Bhuvana Ebeas Kusuki Bhuvana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavane Ki Jai. Om, we'll repeat after me. Om Aganyati Mirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Swaha 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 Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Om Swaha 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 Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Saidvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Swaha 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 Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Romapada Swami Iti Namini Swaha 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 Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Om Swaha 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 Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shivarsabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Taine Prabhave Namaha Swaha 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 Madhur Ujvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Namo Gorakishoraya. Shakshad Vairagya Murtaye. Vipralambara Sambodhe. Padambu Jayate Namaha. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya. Satchid Anandanamine. Gora Shakti Swarupaya. Rupanuga Varayate. Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Goravir Baba Bhumestvam. Nirdesta Sajjana Priya. Vaishnava Sarvabhaumashi. Jagannatayate Namaha. Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna Prema Padayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya. Namne Goratsise Namaha. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Panchatattvatmakam Krishna. Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam. Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam. Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu. Dinabandhu Jagatpate. Gopesha Gopika Kanta. Radha Kanta Namostate. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Jayatam Surator Bangur. Mama Manda Matirgati. Matsarva Swapadam Bojo. Radha Madana Mohano. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Divyad Vindaranya. Kalpadrumadaha. Shimad Ratnagara. Simhasanastato. Shimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo. Prestali Bihi. Sevyamano Smarami. Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Shiman Rasarasarambi. Vamsivata Tatastita. Karsan Venuswaner Gopir. Gopinatakstriyestuna. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Tapta Kanchana Gorangi. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Vrishabhanustute Devi. Pranamami Hari Priye. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar. Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Swaha 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 Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardana Yat Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tadastu Me Swaha 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 Om Aparada Sahasrani Kriyante Narnisammaya Dasoham Itimam Madhva Samavasya Madhusudana Swaha 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 Om Pratikya Tava Govinda Name Bhakta Pranasyati Iti Samsmritya Samsmritya Pranam Sam Tarayam Yaham Swaha 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 Om Purnam Adap Purnamidam
Om Purnam Adah Purnamidam
Purnat Purnam Udachyate
Purnat Purnasya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnam Eva Vasishyate Swaha 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 Om Agne Maya Supataraye Asman Agne Maya Supataraye Asman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Vishwani Vayunani Vidvan Yud Asma Juhuranameno Yud Asma Juhuranameno Buyistam Te Nama Uttim Videma Buyistam Te Nama Uttim Videma Om Tat Sat Swaha Swaha Swaha. Please repeat after me. Oh my Lord, you are more powerful than fire. You are omnipotent. Now I offer you all obeisances and fall on the ground at your feet. Oh my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. And since you know all that I have done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins, so that there will be no hindrance to my progress toward you. Om Swaha Swaha Swaha. Okay, everyone take a banana and stand up. And hold the banana like this. Stand up carefully. Take your time. Okay. So please repeat. I'll do it. Om Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagatitaya Krishnaya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Please repeat. I offer my obeisances again and again to Lord Shri Krishna, who is always worshipped by qualified brahmanas and is very dear to them. He is always concerned with the welfare of the cows and brahmanas and the whole universe, and he gives pleasure to the cows, land, and senses. Om Namo Brahmanya Devaya.
Om Namo Brahmanya Devaya.
Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagatitaya Krishnaya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagatitaya Krishnaya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Swaha Swaha Swaha. Wait a minute. Go very slowly. Vajragovinda can help arrange it. Now we're going to walk around the fire.